room is now dumb for having listened.
Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch-Up Podcast, episode number 35. Now, this week we're doing something a little bit different. The Lunchtime Catch-Up Podcast, as you know, is a pair of blokes that have known each other for 30-odd years. You get together most days in the city to talk about everything Essendon Football Club.
Not today.
But not today. Today I've got Scotty here with me and some bloke that played a couple of games for Essendon or something in the 80s.
I think he did play for Essendon.
He played in the ruck a couple of times. Who have we got on the line?
Peter Somerville.
Close. Hi, how are you, boys? Simon Madden here. Yes, you're right. I played a few games for a local club.
Played a few games for a local club out in the northern suburbs of the road. That's absolutely, it's Simon Madden, everybody. My absolute childhood favourite AFL player. We are very happy to have him on the show today. How's everything?
I'm a bit disappointed I was your childhood hero, and then as you grew up, you forgot me.
No, mate. There's only ever been two that I would actually spend money to put number on my back, and it is you and Vanders. Hurdy.
That's good
you and Vanders. Hurdy a very, very close third, but you first, Vanders second, and then Hurdy.
Thank you. I'm in good company. Thank you very much. That's great.
You actually, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but you actually played a game of a footy against my dad for when you played footy.
Thank you for just aging me 40 years. Thank you very much. I don't want to hear any more. Move on.
His lasting memory was your pointy knee and his ribs. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a recurring theme that I've heard over the years. I didn't mean it. I just said I was going for the ball.
Yeah, sure you were. Yeah, sure. They only get you 4 weeks nowadays.
At least.
So, look, I guess we can start with the news of Tom Bell-Chambers. It's a good way to start with you on the line.
Talking to a ruckman?
That's a very good starting point. As you know, I'm a little bit biased. I have a chance for watching the ruckman and judging the ruckman, and Tommy's form's been fantastic this year. He's been really good. He's been strong in the ruck. He's been strong with his marking around the ground. And I know he said himself his body's the best it's been for years, so that's helped. And he signed up for another couple of years, which I think is fantastic. And I'm really pleased for him. I'm pleased for the club, and I'm pleased for the supporters, because just having that continuity, having that stability is really important for the future. So I think that's fantastic. Well done, Tommy, if you're listening. Thank you.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he gives us a call each week. No, just kidding. I reckon the ruck position is still, I mean, I don't know. It's a midfielder's game and all that sort of stuff they say, but I still believe that there's an incredibly important position in the ruck, and it's just demonstrated when Tommy plays the game like he did for West Coast. Not only just the tap ruck work that he's exceptional at, but if he can get around the ground and take those marks around the ground, the ruck position becomes incredibly important for the club.
Look, and I think you're talking my language, of course, but I think I totally agree. And I think when a big man takes a big, strong mark in a pack, I think it's confidence just for the side as well.
Yeah.
Like you take the spectacular mark and all that, but when a big fella goes bang and takes a big, strong mark in defence or up forward and settles the game down or has a shot at goal, I think that adds confidence to the side. So it's great to see him getting around and doing that. And look, I think if you have a look at the stats, if you have a good ruckman who's getting not just tap outs, but tap outs that are received by your teammates, I think it actually has a big influence on the game. And you'd rather have the ball moving towards the goals than away from it. So any time the ruckman can have influence like that, I think it's a very important, very good influence. So I'm all for having 18 ruckmen in the side.
Exactly.
Could slow us down a smidge, but
yeah, but it just never let it hit the ground.
I was just going to say, just kick it in the air all the way from back to forward. Kick it in the air.
Look, I thought it'd be a good opportunity seeing. Obviously, you're a director of the club as well, and that's.
Yes.
I just thought it'd be interesting to discuss with you how you have seen the year on and off field, and look, we're a very open and transparent kind of podcast. We had moments where there was a little bit of membership kind of card issues and just a few on-field issues. How have you seen how the club's gone? Because there's obviously definitely been big positives as well. But
totally agree. Look, I think look, you're right about the. Look, I know at board level we've spoken about, and there was, just one of those issues where there was a decision made about when the cards went out, and it didn't go right, and made a mistake, and the club owned up to it. And I think you find anybody who got a card late, got a letter, got an apology letter, which I think was the right thing to do, because that shouldn't happen. We learned from that, and next year will be better. And then, of course, we had frustration on the field. Of course, the whole thing about the game is about the whole club is about how the footy team performs. So, we were frustrated there for a while, but it's 22 weeks long.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't measure. You can't measure a team on one or two games. And of course, I was just frustrated. I'm a supporter as well as a director. I'm a supporter, so I was as frustrated as anybody. But you've got people in positions that you have confidence in them, and it might ebb and flow a little bit, but you still have confidence in them. And so we're starting to see that we're developing some young players. We have a good game plan. We're starting to play better footy. The players understand it, and we're heading in the right direction. And I know it's frustrating for a lot of people, because off the field, a whole lot of positives are going very, very well. So on all the measurements we had, we were going really well. But of course, the main measurement for all our supporters is on field, and we weren't doing that.
Yeah, winning games of footy.
Yeah, funny about that. Funny how that's important.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's amazing.
So we're starting to get that right, and look, as you said, the game against West Coast last week, it seems so long. When you're playing a Thursday night, I know it's only a week, but it seems so long ago, because we've got there's I'm still getting used to Thursday night football, put it that way. But it was just a great win against a very good opponent. So that's good for the supporters. It's good for business, of course, but it's good for everybody. It's good for the players, because it gives them confidence. So that's a really good. It's a really good plus. Of course, is you've got to win the next one. So North have been a good side. They're playing good footy. We've got another Sunday game. As you say, there's lots of blokes named on the bench. I could even get named on the bench. Is that many there?
All right. Tommy's probably got you. Tommy's just got you as first ruckman at the moment.
Yeah, funny about that. Funny about that. So, look, as a director, you've got to look long term, and I think we're heading in the right direction. It's great that we don't have to look back. We're looking forward. We've still got a lot of improvement to do, but we are definitely heading in the right direction. And you've got a great following on the podcast, and I don't know. I know Xavier said a lot, and I don't know if we can say it enough. But for the supporters, it's been fantastic. And you've got to say thank you to the supporters for being the support they've had over the last 5-6 years. Stuck with us, and now we're heading into a positive period rather than a negative period, a positive period. Yeah. And of course, I think that added to the frustration at the start of the year, because there's all of a sudden there's this higher expectation. Maybe it's a bit too high, but nevertheless, there's a positive high expectation. So we're heading with the heading in the right direction. And I have this little saying I say to all the supporters, which they sort of get a bit worried about. But let me finish. I say to them when I meet them, you know, it's your fault. I go, what do you mean? I said, well, when I played footy, it's a long time ago, I know, but when we were 4 goals down, everybody in the outer started chanting, clap, 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 Essendon, clap, 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 Essendon, and it'd build up and build up, and it'd give you great support. I said, now we get 4 goals down at Etihad, and you'll go inside and have a beer. And everybody goes, oh, yeah, we do. And I said, well,
I agree.
No, stay outside and start clapping.
Yeah.
So, and don't underestimate, for all the supporters, don't underestimate the noise that you make and the support you give your side. And, I can pull rank there. I've been out in the middle, and I've been lucky enough to be out there in front of 100,000 people on grand final day, and the support from the supporters, not just followers. Remember, people follow the club.
Yeah, I agree.
There are supporters who support the club, and that's what they actually do. So I'm very big on making positive. Don't scream and shout and be negative. Get out there and support the team. Make noise, clap, cheer. Urge them on, because you do actually hear it out there. That's very, very important.
Well, there you go, listeners. Everybody that's listening now, the players hear you. We might not hear the individual comment, but I know as a group, when you hear the noise from the whole supporting group, it's fantastic. Love it. Excellent.
And you can create that atmosphere in Etihad Stadium too.
Yes, you can. Exactly.
Yeah. And Essendon has a little bit of a history of when they're really up and about. Unfortunately, it's more when we're up and about and not 4 goals behind. But we are one of the louder fan bases when we have that sense of maybe a possible comeback, but or in front of an underdog against a big team. We do have a reputation of being extremely loud, and you can tell the energy in the whole game is different. You can actually tell it has an impact on the players.
I won't get high and mighty, but I can tell you about the science of of the group and how each individual member of the group actually influence the next member, and then you get a momentum. And so the concept of supporting really, really does help. And you're seeing the world game in soccer where home ground advantage gets more points because there's an advantage at home ground. What is that? It's the familiarity, it's the support, etc. I never want us to go to that point, but don't underestimate the power that the supporter has to properly influence the game by supporting positively.
Yep.
Now, I guess, Simon, one of the things I wanted to pass on too is I don't know how much. I mean, I know you're an Essendon legend and all that good stuff, and we love you to death. And people probably run up to you often when they're at the footy and Simon, can I get an autograph? All that sort of stuff, right? But I'm wondering how much the board or the club, how much what's the word I'm trying to look for? The sort of fan feedback or supporter, as you've said, supporter feedback you get and is discussed at board level, because I know just between you and the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast here with me and Scott, what you guys have done as a board and Xavier has done as the CEO is incredible. To come out of the worst period of Essendon's history, to have 76,000 members, to have a world.
There's no odd ones. There's 76 great members, all right? There's not 76.
76 odd members. No, there's a few odd
No,
ones.
we know a few.
There's two doing this podcast. 76,000 members.
I'll agree with that.
Great. 76,000 world-class sporting training facility. I'm assuming the numbers are okay in the bank balance and all that sort of stuff. That is very impressive. And from an Essendon fan point of view, I want to personally say thank you to you and the board and those that have come before you, because it must have been an incredibly hard thing to do, to retain all the players that we retained and keep the nucleus of a club together, where we haven't just come out the other end. We've come out as a club of choice to people like Stringer and Sard and Smith.
Yeah.
And that absolutely helps us as a supporter and a fan base as well, to know that it's okay, things aren't happening so much on the field at the minute, but that will turn around eventually. But we know that there is a group of dedicated Essendon people who are running the ship off the field, and that we don't have to hear about Essendon being in debt or Essendon merging with anybody or anything like that. That part has been really... So I want to pass on a big thank you from the podcast to you guys and the board.
Thank you very much, mate. That's really we really appreciate that. The work is not over. There's a lot more work to be done, but also part of that is, and this is one great thing about Essendon, is that a few people have said to me, both officially and unofficially, that maybe another club might not have survived what we've been through. And I think
I don't doubt it.
And I think the strength of the supporter base, and I've been really enjoying being on the board, and I think the people on the board, well, I know they've got Essendon, at heart. Their decisions, we don't, it's not a decision about what's good for me. It's a decision about what is the best for the Essendon Footy Club. And we're really heading in the right way with that. So I really enjoy that part of it. And I've said to people on the board, don't just agree with me because it's nice to agree. Have a vigorous debate. If we disagree, you say your point, I have my point, and somewhere in between might actually get a really good outcome for the club. So it's all about. And I didn't run when I got appointed the board. I didn't run the platform other than saying I will make sure that my decisions are in the best interest of the footy club. And I think the people at that level understand that and do that. And I think our executive are doing a wonderful job. Are we perfect? Of course not. And we're going to make mistakes along the way. But as I said, a simple one with the cards. Don't underestimate the feedback we've got from the fans about, no, that's disappointing, and we totally agree. And we'll work at fixing that for the supporter, for the fan, for the member, because members are really, really important to us. Our fan base is really, really important to us, and so you have to look after all the stakeholders. So you have to look after the players, you have to look after the past play, you have to look after the members, you have to look after the staff, et cetera, et cetera. When you're making decisions, you've got to look at how does that affect all your stakeholders.
It's a bloody big job, Simon. It's a massive job.
Well, it is, and look, I just want people to know too, because people don't realise this. It's officially a volunteer job. People look at the directors and go, well, they must be on lots of money. We are volunteers. And a lot of people say, I want to get on the board. And then you show them what you actually do and what you have to do. And they go, I don't think I want to be on the board. It's a big job. And it is a big job. But it's, if your mind and your heart's in the right place, and your decisions about what's best for the football club in the longer term and for the greater purpose, it's really enjoyable. And I really enjoy it. And, I won't be there for a long time. You just be there for the right time. I don't want to hang around and be, an old bloke that's in the way. You get there, you do your job, and then you move on. And I think, when you've got a united club, as I think we do have, I said there's a few glitches along the way, but when we have a united club on all levels, your chance of success is much better.
Yeah. Look, I found one of the positives this year when we even had a slow start. The one thing that has been very apparent to me is that there's also an exciting young core coming through, whether it's and even the emergence of Langford's form this year, but even seeing Aaron Francis in the VFL starting to be happy and play really good footy, seeing Guelphy, seeing these kids come through. Mature. I think that's one of the highlights for me so far this year, that it's not only do we have a core existing sort of mid-age group, but we also have an under-23 group that is coming along really fast and it's really taking the game on, to be honest.
Look, and you're right. And like example with Guelphy, because, I think he's great to watch because he's only a young player, still learning, but he looks like he's played 35 games. He fits in, he's cool, he's calm. So the development part of our program must be doing, if you look at those blokes coming through, the development part of our program must be doing something right. So that's where, on a board level, you say, and as a part, I keep saying as a past player too, I wear a few hats. You say, look, that's where when those players come in to the side and look, and Langford, you've got to give him credit because he came to us as a taller player, and then all of a sudden you're at AFL level and you're not going to be the centre back, you're not going to be the centre forward, and he's been directed. Look, we want to make you, a big strong midfielder, and that was a hard change for him. And people don't realise that. We all. When you get the blokes in from other leagues, when you draft blokes, they've been the best player, or a lot of times they're the best player on their side. So they don't have to go and hunt the ball a lot of the time because everybody looks for them. So the ball comes to them. And then when you get into when you get the big league, you've got a lot of other people who around you who are asking for the ball or getting the ball. So all of a sudden you've got to go and hunt your own ball and get it yourself. Exactly. So when you're saying, well, you're going to be a big midfielder, so you've got to be practice as a big inside midfielder. He's got to do a lot more learning than other blokes. And to his credit, you see the way he's developed. And now he's come into the side last week and done, he's starting to head in the, still got a long way to go, but starting to do what they've asked of him. I reckon it's fantastic. But that development, as you say, those young developing players, look, as the old football, it's just great to watch. It's great to see young fellas. And I always say to the young fellas, I get a chance to talk to them, that we talk about the great history of the club, and I'm very happy to be part of it. But you make your own history. Don't worry about talking about the old history. That's something you learn from. But it's about now. It's about the present. It's about you making your history. You make your mark on the game. You be involved because you're the only blokes who are actually out there. We all talk about it. We all love it. We all discuss it. We watch it on TV. But you're the only blokes who are actually doing it. And there's hundreds of thousands of people who'd love to do it. Not that we're too old or we're too young or we're not good enough for this. And you all got the opportunity to do it, so you go and do it. You make your own history. I'm really big on that for them. So to see the way they're developing, I'm really pleased.
Now, do you have, when you see the West Coast game and you see Stringer kick 3 and Smith get almost best on ground and Sard almost get best on ground, is there a scenario where you're at the club and Adrian Dodoro is just walking in and just drops a mic in front of everyone? And just says, "I'm out of here, boys."
Yeah, no, it's a history of football. You look back at, and I know a lot of your listeners won't ever remember because it was in the 80s. But when I played, Sheeds went and got Weston, went and got Duckworth, went and got people from all over the country.
Was that Baker? Baker as well.
Baker. Think about Baker recruited at 27. People forget that 27. He was 27 years old when he's recruited. You look at all that. How you've got to get a group of players together from everywhere, and Adrian Doro's been in the business for a long time. He's got a good group of good working group of people around him, and it's not an exact science. This is the thing, and I've seen people who you think are going to be great players, and you get them, and all of a sudden you put them into the big pressure, and they're in the limelight and in the spotlight, and all of a sudden there's a whole lot of extra pressures that are not about playing, it's about handling the situation. And it's not always about talent, it's about how you handle all the other stuff around the talent. So to be able to pick blokes who can do all that is not an exact science, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. I don't think he drops the mic, he waves it under your nose, I think, every now and then.
Now, I'll tell you what, Simon, I'm a massive fan of Adrian Dodoro and the players that he's brought to the club and the gems that he's picked up later in the draft. And I must admit, if I had 27 on the black duffel coat with the wooden little toggles, I had 18 on there as well, and I think it was a smidge old to put Hurdy on a duffel coat. But if Adrian Dodoro had a number, if we could allocate that man a number, I'd buy a duffel coat as we speak, because the players that he's drafted.
I'll tell him.
Please get him to, I don't know, just get him to put a little number on his shirt the next time he's on TV.
Yeah.
Just a sneaky one, and I'll have that on the back of my. Because I mean, to pick up people like Connor McKenna and to go and get that bloke who was wanted by a lot of clubs, to go and get the big three recruits that we got, to find people like Langford and Merritt later in the draft as well. Just.
Oh yeah,
He's done exceptionally well. Someone like Gold Coast, they'd kill for Adrian Dodoro. Someone like the amount of hits that we've got with AFL football.
Yes.
Like you said, it's an imperfect science. Some kids can handle it, some kids can't. It's an imperfect science, but I reckon his batting average is very high.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and I think. As I said, there's a group of recruiters who are either full time with the club or spotters, etc. People, a lot of people understand when the lead up to the draft and they look at the list. And remember, like number one draft, the first 5 draft choices, first 10, everybody knows. So it's not where they go. It's not are they going to get picked? It's who's going to pick in what order. Is he going to be 1? Is he going to be 5? Is he going to be 2? And you make a good point. It's not the first 10 or the first 20, but when you start to get pick 69 or pick 70 or pick 71, all of a sudden, how do we know we're going to get him? Well, you don't. But how do you do the homework to pick a bloke that might just
like
remember
Jay Hurd, for example?
Yeah, well, James hurt his knee. He played under 19s and hurt his knee the year before. So not many people saw him play. So he got picked up, whatever it was, late 60s or 70, whatever it was.
Yep.
He turns out to be one of our greatest players ever. So having that knowledge and having that bank of knowledge and the people around you to do that is a great thing to have. So we're doing all right in that. We're doing all right in that part of the game.
Absolutely.
Now, as just out of curiosity, is Sheeds around the office gloating on the legend status, or is he trying to think of a big concept game?
I haven't been able to talk to him since he got nominated. I've just got to get in the queue. I've got to.
Is he fitting through the doorways without having to move sideways?
I'm in the queue, and apparently I've got to go to Ballarat because that's where the end of the queue is at the moment. If you want to go speed.
Absolutely.
No, he was very humble. I was lucky enough to be there when it was a given. And when you walk in, you don't officially know, but when you walk in, he's got 3 tables of family there. You sort of, I think that's going to happen tonight, which is good. And it was fantastic. Totally deserved. He's been and I tried to explain Kevin Sheed. I'll give you an hour and a half, right? But here's one for you. Here's just a simple one. When we were playing 20 years ago, 30 years ago, he said we should play full-blown games for points overseas. And people say you're mad. And last year, this year, we played games in China for full points, proper games.
Yeah.
So he was only 20 or 30 years ahead of the game.
Only 20 or 30.
Only 20, and that's where he's when his big picture is very big, and when he's coaching, his coaching's really good. He's a whole lot of things, and you look at that, and it's more when you look back and say, well, think about what he's done over this great period. And now, the AFL have finally said, yeah, that idea Sheets had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is actually a good idea. Now, maybe it's the right, maybe it couldn't have been done then, maybe the right time, but he was thinking about it before they were. So you've got to give him credit. So, and his influence on the game to have Anzac Day, to have the Dreamtime game, and now working on the country game. And the way he does it too, it's not just about let's have the country game. It's let's pay homage and respect the people in the rural areas who've helped shape this country and helped shape this game. And I think it's a really good way about going about it.
Yeah.
Now, Simon, how old were you, if you don't mind me asking? How old were you when you first met Sheets?
Oh God, that's a very good question. I would have been, if I had to start at 81. I would have been 22.
22, right? So
21, 22, I think it was, yeah.
So coming into the club, first time, you're meeting Sheeds. It was very much, how much older would Sheeds be than you? About 20?
He'd be 12 years.
12 years? Okay.
I think I've hit the big 6-0, so he must be 72, 73, I think. So,
Okay, so I'm just wondering on that night when he's went for the legend status and stuff, and he remembers Simon Madden as the gangly kid that came to play at his club. Does he still? I know he doesn't treat you like that. You're 60 years old, grown man, but does he still sort of look at you and say, "G'day, Simon," with the same sort of look in his eye?
Yeah, he's still like he treats you like one of the players he's coached, right? He still loves his players, and he still treats you like with the respect that he's developed over time as a player and coach. So yes, he does that. Well, I don't know if he sees a little kid anymore. He sees a grey-haired old man, I think, but he still has that connection as you as the coach and the player, I think, which is always there.
Yeah, that's really nice. And from a supporter's point of view, that's really nice to think about. Is that we've got good old Sheeds, and unfortunately now old Simon that getting together. But
be quick. You say it quickly, people might not hear.
Yeah, that's old Simon. When you see each other, there's still that sort of respect there from a 370
exactly right.
70-odd game player and a legend of the club. That's great.
That's good. There's a natural connection there that happens here. It's
great.
My last question historically, could I ask which game gave you more satisfaction? Was it coming from behind in 84 to a Hawthorn who may have thought they had the grand final won and beating them? Or was it the next year absolutely slaughtering Hawthorn and just sort of making fun of them?
Yeah, look, it's a very good. I think when you look back, I still think the 84 has. I mean, to have two in a row is fantastic because they're very hard to do, and people. It's very, very hard to do. Even good sides don't do it. So to be able to have two in a row, but I think Gary Foles and I started the same year. We were there 10 years to get to grand final. In 83, got belted by then a record score. To be able to come back and get into a grand final the next year, and then be able to come from behind and do what we did in the last quarter. I think when the siren went, that probably has the strongest memory.
Strongest memory, yeah.
Did you for the other premierships that we've had since then? Did you, as a past player in 300 plus games, did you get into the rooms with the boys after those games? Were you there on grand final day? Get to experience that with them?
I know. After '93, I was there. Because I remember I was ruck coach for Carlton, and when Carlton lost, I went in and celebrated with Essendon and never got invited back. So that was
interesting.
That's fair enough too.
Now, this week's game against North.
So, can we beat North Melbourne? I think we can.
I can. But it's also never underestimate any side. They're playing very good footy.
They are
well coached. They well play. They do Etihad as well as we do. So. It's interesting, you look at the side because it's Sunday. I haven't picked a full team yet, so you got to look at the matchup. But I think again, if we played 4 quarters like we played the first quarter last week,
no one's beaten us.
We can beat anybody. It's just
absolutely
great to watch. But to sustain, this is the thing about a developing side, to sustain that.
Yeah.
To be that fast and that hard and that ruthless, nasty, which is in a proper way, to do that for 4 quarters is really, really hard. So, but we were still good. If you look at the game last week, we beat them in the first quarter and matched them for the rest of the quarter because they're always going to come back. So I think there's 2 points different in the next 3 quarters.
Yeah.
So we can match it with West Coast. That means we can match it with anybody, and we can outplay West Coast. It means we can outplay anybody. Now there's a confidence thing as well as tactics, etc., and belief.
Yeah.
But look. We're still a developing side. You can have ups and downs, but we have the form. We've shown the form. We should be able to beat them.
And we're I believe celebrating Barry Davis this week.
Is he the legend? Yes,
he's a legend. Yes. So
man, Barry, coach, was one of my coaches. A very good man. Probably a little bit ahead of his time in the same way back then too. In development, but great player for Essendon, and of course premiership player for North. So it's an apt game to pick him as a legend.
Yeah, fantastic. I must admit, because you'll have obviously a very young generation not knowing Barry at all. So it's
no, exactly right. Yeah. That's the thing. One of the things happens every now and then. I actually played in the first season black and white telly. That's how old I am. But what happens now? Somebody will say to me, "Oh, I saw you on Tuesday night." And I went, "What was home?" He said, "Oh no, they played the '84 grand final again on Fox Footy." So every now and then, my football or our era comes back because they can replay the colour footage. But there's people before that who are sensational players, but they don't get seen because they haven't got footage, and so you don't get in the main media. So young football fans don't see them, so they don't understand what they've done. But Barry Davis was a sensational player. And interesting, if you're a bit of history, he had one of the nastiest facial injuries with an elbow. And there's actually black and white picture of him with his face connected to a wire cage. So two bits coming out each side, 2 bits coming out of his forehead, 2 bits coming out of his cheek, 2 coming out of his jaw in a rectangular square, rectangle holding those together. And his face is so swollen you wouldn't know who it was. But you won't. Yeah, so you talk about these nasty injuries. He had one, and then he still played. He's over 200 X Games and been a sensational player for us and for North. So
did he remember who did it?
Yes, no, I don't, because I was too young to know. I remember seeing the photo afterwards and going, "My God, this is the game they want me to play."
So, Simon, when you're not a 300 game legend of the club, director of the club, an all round nice guy, what does Simon Madden do on weekends just to relax?
Oh, I was going to say, I was just going to put what he do for a job. Look up simonmadden.com.au. There's the plug.
There you go, simonmadden.com.au.
I'm a little bit. Well, I'm in a rock and roll band. I play a nice Fender, nice 1989 Fender Strat for all the guitarists out there.
Oh,
we're in a rock and roll band called Better Late Than Never, because we're all old, and we do rock and roll covers from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all stuff. If you can't move your feet and you don't know the song, we don't play it. So we've got a cruise. I'm going to put plugs in there. We've got a cruise.
Go for it, Simon.
July.
Yeah.
And we've got a big night on the July 21st at the Askervale Hotel. That's when a lot of the ex-players are coming along, so there's a good one to push.
Oh, that's just up the road from my house, so I'll be there for that.
Yeah, that's right. Askervale Hotel 21st. We're doing we've got a big motor neuron disease function at the Essendon Bowls Club in a couple of weeks on a Sunday afternoon. That's a big one for Neil, so that's a good one. You can look that up. Yep. And then we've got, I think in August we've got a gig in Ginger Annie in Mount Road in Essendon, not far down from the club. So we're playing regularly. This is getting a bit scary. We're starting to do far too much work. But,
mate, you're going to become a full-time muso.
Yeah, I don't think the money's in it,
mate. Is one of the songs on the set list that seems to have the most sort of biggest feedback or biggest?
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Nice.
Go for the classics.
Very nice. Well, I'm going to be front row centre for the Ascot Vale Hotel, I can tell you.
There you go. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Look, we won't speak. We won't go on too much longer, but we really want to appreciate you. Oh, by the way, I noticed that there's a Canada Day offer by Andrew McGrath to all the fans out there. So if there's any Canadian citizens,
that's right, yes.
There's a free ticket on round 15. Now, my whole family comes from Toronto, by the way, just so you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, so except for me, they moved over, and I was born in...
I haven't been to that side yet. I've been to Vancouver, but I haven't been to the other side, so that's on the bucket list too.
Great sports city. It's if you love the Maple Leafs and the Raptors and everything like that, it's I actually spoke to Andy not long ago, so we're having a bit of a chat about Toronto and Mississauga, where he's from, but a great part of the world.
Yeah, it is a great part of the world. Fantastic. So I'm told I've got to go and visit it.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're not singing up a storm.
And can you just quickly describe to give your business a plug? What actually is your business, by the way?
Here we go. So I'm a consultant, and I consult in sustainable high performance about getting good and staying good for organisations, and I work with the individual, the team, the leadership, and the culture.
Oh, cool.
Wow, succinctly put, simonmadden.com.au.
There you go, and I do sales training, and part of the sales training is you've got to be able to explain yourself in 25 words or less. And have people wanting to get your business card off you. There you go. Okay. And that normally costs you. You got that for free.
Do you do that? Normally that'll be $1,500. Do you do the sell me this pen routine? Do you?
Oh no, we're way past that.
Okay. Sustainable business.
But it is good. It's a very good routine because it's about what you need. It's not what I do. It's what I do for you.
Yeah, it's what you need.
and some of the pen routine is very, very good. Yeah, I like that one.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, we've been on for 30 odd minutes with our third podcast member on this episode of the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast, Essendon legend Simon Madden.
Just for all the fans out there, you can subscribe to our SoundCloud and iTunes channel. Thank you for all your support. We've had a great response recently with our show. Who was our recent guest?
We had... Sorry?
I'm trying to think of our recent guest.
Oh, we had Chipley Grand for a while back. We had Andrew Porter. We did that Philadelphia one, but
had Ron Connolly on.
Yeah, we've had some really great guests, and again, Simon's come back to us. We're very pleased to say that Simon's been on the podcast twice now. He's very generous with his time, and we really do appreciate you, Simon. Again, not only as a fan, and I could quite literally dig that duffel coat out from the box it's in if I had to right now.
Look after it's a collector's item.
Absolutely, it is, and you know what? It'd make it even better. A little signature at the Ascot Vale Hotel. Do you reckon I'd look out of place if I wore the duffel coat to your show?
Not at all.
Not at all. Great.
I don't want to offend you, but I had Daisy Williams,
fantastic little play for us. It's tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, I can half admit that a lot of his career was helped by yourself. So
yeah,
a good ruck-rover combination always works.
Exactly right. The ball that he had put down his throat. Simon, thank you very much for your time on the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast. We really appreciate you coming on again, and we hope to speak to you very soon.
Good on you, gentlemen. Thanks for your time, and go Dons, and good luck with it. Good on you, boys.
Great. Exactly. Thanks, Simon.
And good luck to the Bombers this week against North. Can't wait to be there. We'll both be there. Yep. So see you Sunday. If you're there, come say hi. If you see us, always happy to talk. But go Bombers, and podcast hopefully sometime next week.
Yes, indeed. See you guys.
See ya.